Hello, guys. It's Mr. Morris from Morrisnews here, and today we have a very special guest, Stroto. Stroto, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Stroto. I'm very educated in business. I could say I've been doing business in high school, and also I know multimillionaires. And I just take multiple online courses on like how to run business and stuff. And I have over $13,000 in my bank account. And I would like to share my business with Morris News and to help them grow as a tiny company.
Well, uh, we thank you very much for being here. We're also joined by Joshua and Raymond. Thank you guys for co-hosting this interview with me. So, Stroto, um, would you like to talk about where you're from and at what point you are in your life? Really soon, really quick.
Well, I'm from Oklahoma.
Hmm.
Oklahoma is just, one of those states that everybody forgets about, but in my opinion, it's actually a really good state because it has a lot of programs for the youth. And surprisingly enough, that they just started their business program 4 years ago, and that was just perfectly for me. So, all in all, I think Oklahoma is a really good state. And where I'm from, it's very small, but it's also very moderate at the same time. It's where, like, you know where people are coming from. So
Hmm.
it's like, it's just really wonderful place, and I feel like some people should just enjoy it so they could see the flatlands and or just fly over it. I guess like if you're going from LA to Dallas, just fly over Oklahoma and just see a little bit of grass. But yeah, it's a pretty nice place.
Already agree to my
Yeah.
terms of
So
service. There's nothing you can do.
you talk a lot about
Already
your
agree.
business expertise. Would you like to share how you were introduced to me and the Morse News family?
So it was from my way to business class to my math class. I met this kid named Crippled, right? I'm just
Hmm.
gonna use Crippled because I don't think he wants me to share his name.
Hmm.
So on my way to math class, I was just talking to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, there's this really cool guy who does a neutral news business," and I was like, "Yeah, that seems very, very unique and very creative." And I was like, "How can I join? How can I help this? How can I help this grow as a small company to a big company like CNN and Fox?" And he was just telling me, "Oh, I can just get you set up in the Discord." Well, it turns out we were going on Thanksgiving break,
Hmm.
so I had to wait like a week or two to gather my thoughts and ideas before I came to him again and said, "Hey, can I join this business group?" And he said, "Yes." Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. And I was like, "No, no, it's okay." And so I joined, and then I gave them a 3 paragraph long introductory to why I
Hmm.
should join Morris News and why I should be here. And they instantly hired me on the spot. So that was pretty good. And we were supposed to do this like a month ago, but we've been kind of putting it off since I've been busy and they've been busy.
Hmm. We very thank you for here, and just to let the audience know, Cripple he has also been interviewed on this YouTube channel. Um, I will link that down in the description. So so Stretho, you've been a part of Morris News since mid to late November. Would you like to share your role in the company?
So what have I been doing since we're not a big company yet? We haven't had accounting, financing, or money or anything like that. I've just been giving accurate descriptions of what we should be doing and how we can focus on the business, how we can scale the business up. I'm still waiting on how to do charts. I'm thinking about doing a chart on like what is the most successful thing to do right now, like which videos are doing the best, stuff like that. But for now, I've just been telling them good advice to how to scale up their business and to eventually make profit.
Hmm. So when we first pitched you the ideal of true neutral news, what was your opinion on that?
My opinion on true neutralers, it was very odd to me because I have never heard of that before, right? Like it's always been left wing, right wing, stuff like that. It's just so foreign to me to see a united news source, like I've just never ever thought about that. And whenever I heard it, it was just crazy to me how that could actually be a thing one day. And so yeah, that's why I wanted to join.
Hmm. So recently you gave privately gave us a motivational speech about about how you thought George Washington in his farewell address, when he said, um, when he warned about political parties. Would you like to say a little bit about that?
So, whenever I give a motivational speech, I make sure that like it connects the audience in some
Look,
way, shape.
guys,
And so, whenever I try to connect in the audience some way, I think of who they are as a person and like what they can commute to the thing, like to the business. And whenever I'm thinking, I just think about like, hold on, give me a second. Can you cut this part out?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically what the question is, guys, I'll just restate the question. We asked Stroto about his motivational speech that he gave us. He had to go step away for a second, so I'll just talk to you guys about some Morrisnews real quick. Um, Morrisnews has made huge milestones recently. On Instagram, we've reached 240 followers. On Twitter, we were almost at 50 followers. And on TikTok, we've just reached 41 followers. On YouTube, we have 867 followers on subscribers. Um, Morris News is growing every single day. Um, there's no doubt in my mind that Morris News will become a competitor of the mainstream media. I think a new generation of media is rising in this country. So that's just one great thing. Tony, would you like to say anything about Stroto and your relationship with him when he's taking his break?
My zipper doesn't work.
Oh.
Um, I'm Tony. I'm a promoter for Morris News. I have some followers,
Mhm.
but we are still trying to grow Morris News daily as a team. I'm not even stuff. Yeah,
and
I'm
my
just
name,
and yeah, Josh. Josh is a promoter.
actually, I am the vice president of Morris News.
I'm actually
I
on.
am the primary
Yeah, are you back,
story
Stroto?
writer.
Oh yeah, Stroto's back. Yeah, but meanwhile, Josh is the vice president. Thank you for that, Tony. Welcome back, Stroto. Would you like to finish your
Yeah.
answer?
So, whenever we, so what was the question again? Just like
We were
reframe
talking
it.
about your motivational speech, and we were talking about George Washington's farewell address and political parties.
So George Washington address, what what he said was very it's very monumental whenever you think about it because whenever it ties into today's world, like people like were like, oh, he knew it was gonna happen, when all reality he was just trying to prevent it. What he said was, I don't want two parties. What I want is multiple parties so nobody can be divided into two parties so we could all agree on the same thing eventually. And whenever I gave my speech, I was telling them, why should we all follow only two news outlets? Why should we only follow CNN and Fox? Why can it be right wing and left wing? Why can it just be one single outlet? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, Morris News is the key to that. It's the key to freedom. Like, we don't buy things. We don't get donations. Like, we are our own outlet. It's crazy to concept the grasp of freedom, the freedom to be able to speak the truth about what's actually going on in the world and how we can prevent it and how we can fix it. It's just you just got to look into it. It's an amazing creation.
That was a wonderful answer. Um, yeah. So moving on to the next question. So Strello, you are very experienced in business operations. That's why Strello has been named the lead operations of business in that department. Um, Stroto, would you like to talk about the evolution of Morris News during your time here?
So whenever I first started out, I noticed that it wasn't very communication except during calls on like when we would talk about business. But now like since I've like joined, I've noticed that like we've been like more connected business wise. Like we actually talk about like, hey, we got this many views, this and that and that. And that's like really good because you're actually communicating. Communication is a key. Like you have to communicate to be able to have teamwork, right? If no one talks and nobody makes a hand signal, no one knows what's going on, right? So therefore, we can't do anything to progress together, right? That's the whole point. We're together. So whenever I joined and I gave y'all advice, I said, whenever you have momentum, whenever you have a decent following, and whenever you see they're getting growth and process, right? Never give up. Keep going. Speed is the key to be able to win this thing. And that's what they did. They decided to speed up their business production. They decided to make more pictures. They decided to do all these things that I told them to do, and they've made tremendous progress. And I love to see that. I love to see that, they're not just blindsiding some 14-year-old kid who thinks that they know their shit about business. It's that they're actually willing to listen to me and actually see what I have to say instead of just taking a blind eye to me and thinking that I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's what I love about this company too. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are. It's about what kind of person you are to this company and who you are as a person.
Wonderful answer. And thank you for the compliments. I appreciate that. So, when when we say true neutral news, do we mean it? So, when you read the stories and the stuff that we post, do you believe it is true neutral, or it's do you think that this company is living up to what they say they're doing? Do you think Morris News is being true neutral, or do you think they're leaning to the left or to the right, or do you think they're actually doing being true neutral? Sure,
But I think, and I've read a lot of the, by the way, so I'm an accurate representation of a source. They're true neutral. Like I know it sounds like I'm paid to say that, right? Because I'm getting hired here.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're true neutral. You will never see them post about one singular party and calling out one singular party unless it's needed to. Of course, if they're going to say, Bill Clinton was like, got released by the Epstein list or something, they're going to post that because that's the truth about the world. Even though he was a Democrat, we're still going to post that, right? And we're going to say the same thing about Trump. We're going to say that he's getting impeached, right? Because that's true news. That's actually what's going on. So therefore, we don't pick sides. We're not going to say that Bill Clinton is a horrible person, right? Because what if he was a good president to some people? What if he was an awful president to some people? That's the thing. We're neutral. We don't care about what one party thinks or what the other thinks. We want to spread the truth. And that's where you find it. Right here. Right here is where the truth is, and that's where we're truly neutral. And that's another thing, too. We don't just talk about politics. We talk about things that are happening all over the world. We talk about people trapped in caves in India, or we talking about what's going on in China. Like, we don't just stay in the United States, and that's another thing, too. You don't see CNN and Fox doing that. Not as much. All it is Israel, Ukraine. It's not the people starving in Africa or the overpopulation in China and India. It's just America funding other countries. So, I mean, what can you really choose besides us? Nothing.
that is definitely an accurate description, Strola. And so now that we've talked about the company and how you joined it, the morals of the company, the goal of the company, and you know the 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 company being what they say it is. How do you see the future of Morris News? Like, what are your goals for Morris News?
What I see is I see a destiny that only this company can fulfill. I see a bunch of hardworking individuals who are willing to make this right. By that is that if we keep up our momentum and progress, we're eventually going to reach the top. And what I mean by the top is that everybody will know our news outlet. No one will have to pick sides anymore. Everybody will know the truth. And I hope that happens. But there's just so many things we want to do. Like, Mond, like he wants to be himself, and Ryan wants to be himself, and I want to be myself. And that's another thing about this news company is that we just don't have to be one thing. We don't have to be this character. We could be ourselves, and that's another great point that I want to lead into is that we're all human, right? So that's why we're, here. And that's why I want to make this place a wonderful place where everybody can listen to and everybody can feel comfortable. And I see this place in a big monument, a big fountain of joy to all people around the world. I want people to know that this is freedom. I don't want them to think this is slavery. That's what I love about this place. And that's why I want to keep it as my home.
So you have a great vision for Morrisnews. A great,
Yes.
great vision. So, in your honest opinion, do you see Morrisnews becoming the dominant news network in America?
Yes, but it will take time. I think that the American people are tired of left this, right that, red pill this, left pill that, black pill. Just all these different things. Why can't we just be one? Why can't we just speak for ourselves? That's what democracy is, right? It's not just, oh, I agree with this, I agree with that. No, it's in the center. That's why we vote. It's because everybody can agree on one thing, right? So why do we have to agree on different things? I mean, I get that, like, some people think that we should keep on mining oil because it's the best resource that we have as humans, right? But other people think that we should keep the environment a sacred and holy place, and I agree with that too. I really think that the environment should be saved, but at the same time, I want to be able to drive a car, 10,000 miles before it runs out. Like, it's just there's just so many things. I just wish we could come together and actually find out a solution. Like, instead of making a solar powered car or an electric car or a gasoline car, why can't we just make a water car? Like, why can't we just come into the middle and make a car that's actually sustainable for both parties, right? You take the liquid from the oil, and then you take the renewable resource from the renewable party, right? And then you combine that together to make water. So that's what I think this can do is that it could, combine together and make one party.
Yeah. Is there any final thoughts you have about Morrisnews that you would like to add, Strello? Or anything you think that
This
we didn't
is
talk about that you would like to say?
There's one thing I want to say is that not everybody will agree. Like, a lot of people will say it's fake, grifter, stuff like that. Some people just believe in anarchy and patriotism. Some people just want freedom, right? But what I'm trying to say is that even though we're one party, right? We all believe in freedom. In this Morris news, a lot of people believe in anarchy, right? Cultists, stuff like that, right? We're never going to be fully united, and I want people to know that no matter what we do or anything like that, we're still going to be divided at the end of the day. You can't stop division. And it's an awful thing to think about, but you just can't stop it. And that's what I want you, the viewer, to consider.
Well, thank you, Strello, for being here. We appreciate all your answers, and we appreciate your time, and we appreciate your dedication and all your hard work to this company so far. Um, and to the
Thank you.
viewers, we will have another episode with Strello where we will discuss other topics. So this concludes this episode. Thank you, Strello. Thank you, Bonds. Would you any final statement, Strello?
I just want to say, I may have thoughts and opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, those are what I think. That's not what I want to project on the world. I may agree that making lithium batteries isn't good for the environment, but there will be a lot of people who think, yes, it's good for the environment. So I just want you to know that I may be more right winged or left winged on some topics, and at the end of the day, I'm still human, and I don't want, you know, I don't want anybody to think that I'm just focused on one party or anything. I think that some people are right and some people are wrong.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.